What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And holy shit, Nick, the Rams have just won 3 straight games. They swept the 49ers. They're poised to make a playoff run, potentially. But before we jump into this episode, first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
I'm great, man. Victory Friday. It's just after a win like that. I mean, it wasn't pretty, but you go into SF and you get that W, and now you get to just kick back and watch Sunday football with not a care in the world. I mean, hopefully the Packers beat the Seahawks, but that's really the only thing I really care about right now. I feel great. Things are good.
It's a second Victory Friday of the season. 2 Thursday Night Football wins. Sean McVay improves to 8-2 on Thursday Night Football as the Rams' head coach. Stafford is 11-1 in December as the Rams' quarterback. So, Nick, as you mentioned, the Seahawks have the Packers this weekend. The Cardinals have the Patriots. So we're go Pack go, and we're rooting for the Patriots in this one. Rams would have the division lead if the Seahawks drop this game to the Packers, and the Seahawks rather have to go through the NFC North. So the Packers and then the Bears and then the Vikings as well, and then they got us. So the path for Seattle is going to be very, very difficult. The Rams have the Jets, the Cardinals, and Seattle to finish out the season. But you're right, this Sunday is going to be very relaxing. The Rams have an extended period of rest. They're going to have 10, 11 days of rest to prepare for the Jets. And it felt like it was a kitchen sink game. The 49ers were the more desperate team. The Rams were able to execute in big spots, specifically on third down late in the game. It was one that you absolutely needed. And this team, they started the season 1-4. So the first 5 games of the season, the Rams started 1-4, had fans talking about tanking. There were Cooper Kupp trade rumors. Puka Nacua was hurt. The offensive line wasn't healthy. And in their last 9 games, they're 7-2. So this team, they get hot. After the bye, they're on fire. And, a lot of it has to be credited to Sean McVay. Obviously, the guy under center is a veteran. He knows exactly what he's doing pre-snap, post-snap. You got great pass catchers. Kyren Williams is a dog. The guys up front are kicking ass. A lot of guys that you need to give credit to in this one. And also the defense. How about the secondary in this game? Really impressive game plan to be able to beat San Francisco and potentially end their season. Rams have a 52% chance to make the playoffs right now. Seattle, 0.1%, or San Francisco, 0.1%. So, we're off to a good start.
Yeah, I just a lot to like from that game. I really think it came down to who do you have under center? Who is your guy that is controlling the game? That it's a dogfight game. It's a brawl in the trenches. And who do you trust more to make a couple big throws? Is it Brock Purdy or is it Matt Stafford? And Matt Stafford at 10 times out of 10. And, the ball was heavy. It was raining on and off. It was just a bad game. Luckily, our kicker was able to do everything that we asked him to do. I think Rams fans, if you were to pull them when Cardi was lining up to kick that 48-yarder, I think maybe 2% of Rams fans would have said, yeah, this is going in. But Cardi was able to hit 4 for 4, the only scoring points for the Rams this week. But I really want to just give credit to Matthew Stafford, because it seemed like every time they needed to make for him to make a throw or make a big play, they were able to get that done. And I mean, the schemes as well. We said it all last week. The way, you have to get the running backs involved in the pass game, and you have to get the tight ends involved, and you got to do screens and jet sweeps, because Cooper and Puka were just completely smothered this whole game.
Sure.
We saw it early on. They were completely smothered. That was their game plan in San Francisco. Puka, to his credit, was still able to make some huge plays. But, I mean, that's what they did. And then, to win the game, essentially, you have a Colby Parkinson, just straight out and in. That was awesome. That was an amazing play.
Third down play, the execution was incredible. The Colby Parkinson play specifically was so impressive because the 49ers defense, and this is via Stu Jackson, you guys all saw this in real time. Cooper Kupp flows in motion, and as he moves in motion, it leaves Colby Parkinson wide open for Stafford to find in the seam for a 14-yard gain on a third down conversion. Rams were leading the game 9-6 at that point. They ended up kicking a field goal and giving the ball back to San Francisco with 20 seconds to go. But Cooper Kupp brings 2 defenders with him when he goes in motion. Matthew Stafford recognizes that immediately pre-snap and fires one to Colby Parkinson for a first down. And we were talking about how McVay needed the perfect play call in that situation. You see Matthew Stafford in empty, and you get a little bit nervous. You're like, oh, God, Like they've converted on third down via running the ball. Seeing Stafford and empty, maybe it's not the most intricate play call, but it's all the pre-snap motion. It's not just window dressing. They know exactly what they're doing to be able to identify what the defense is doing. And you're right. They had an incredible game plan against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. They didn't allow them to sit in the zone. They didn't allow them to stretch the field besides the one play to Puka down the field. Cooper Kupp had 0 catches in this game, but as a decoy, as a blocker, was incredible. And as we mentioned, Matthew Stafford, he's 11-1 in December since joining the Rams. And how about this stat via the Rams PR? Los Angeles held San Francisco to 191 total yards, the second fewest in any game under 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan.
That is
Kyle
incredible.
Shanahan, yeah, it's an incredible stat.
I mean, like Shanahan hasn't always he did not inherit like a fantastic 49ers team. Like when he started off, that team was eggs. They were really bad. And the fact that this was his second worst game and not from that original era when 2018, I remember we would just dog walk them. Like they were just a bad team 2018. And
yeah, it was 2018. That was the last time that we swept them. And to remind everybody what a sweep feels like, I got this clip from Nick.
That was
Nick showing us what the sweep looks like.
That was from our FaceTime. Every time the Rams win, me, Dean, and my dad, we FaceTime and do a victory shot, and I was so hyped. So I grabbed my broom and did a little sweep.
And you know what? These Rams 49ers games, they bring out so much energy, they bring out so much passion, and they bring out some great photos. And just to kind of reminisce a little bit back to last night, there's Debo. The Debo drop is what everybody was calling it post-game. He's been struggling. Who knows if he's a 49er next season? He, coming out with the boombox. The act is so old. It seems like the Rams really kind of shut their Super Bowl window, and Debo was begging for targets. And the fact that a lot of the game plan was catered around Debo, I think was actually advantageous towards the Rams. And, that happens with Debo receivers sometimes. And you got the two historic drops. You got Jaquiski Tartt in the NFC Championship, and now you got the Debo drop from the 2024 season. It's a lot to be excited about if you're a Rams fan. Right?
A couple things with Debo. One, I feel like there was some voodoo mafia gambler bad magic going against him because he tweeted that out, and then that community note, he was like, "I'm not the problem." And the community note was like, "No, you're actually leading the team in drops." So then everybody saw that, was like, "Oh, Debo's gonna feast." So 4 of my friends have actually texted me separately and were like, "It's Debo, anytime touchdown scorer." And I was like, I don't know about that. And I think the books made sure that he didn't score a touchdown. But
the best play that Debo made, the best play was the kick return where Charles Woods got flagged for the horse collar and got the 49ers.
I mean, he still returned that about 41 yards without the horse collar. But I mean, Debo is a fantastic talent. If he's moved, I said this on the pod last week, or not even last week, 2 days ago. I was like, I think the 49ers just need to shake things up. I think they got to move around their organization. Maybe let Shanahan walk if that's something that's being discussed. Get rid of some of these heavy cap players, let them move on. It's time. I don't think you're going to win with this exact regime right now. I mean, maybe you can try next year. But I think maybe I would only keep Brock and Bosa, and then I would kind of move on from all the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got Bosa coming off of a hip injury, of an oblique injury. Obviously, Havenstein got flagged for holding call against Bosa, but otherwise he wasn't really that impactful. Dre Greenlaw, coming off of the Achilles tear from the Super Bowl last year, was extremely impactful, but in the most important moments of the game, he wasn't able to stay on the field.
Yeah.
You had players, I think it was Devondre Campbell, who just said, "I'm not going back at the game," who just abruptly said, "Yeah, I'm not playing the rest of this one." So, I mean, you got a lot of talented players on the 49ers' defense, but at the same time, it's their core is probably going to be Brock Purdy and then maybe Nick Bosa, and who knows what's going on with McCaffrey, and Trent Williams was out. So all of it works in favor of the Rams. But to switch back over to the Rams.
Let me just say one more thing about the Niners.
Go ahead.
That would have been such the McCaffrey game. I mean, it's raining. It's all on the running back. He could have single-handedly won that game. And, maybe even the same with that Bills game in the snow. And it's just a shame just to see one of the best running backs of our time just not be able to be out there on the field. but I'll take a win.
Yeah, I was going to say you want to get them full strength, but they were pretty healthy in this game.
Right. It's not like we didn't get destroyed by the injury bug this year as well.
Yeah, exactly. The playing fields were even. And how about Kyren Williams in this game? Kyren Williams was the first Ram to rush for 100-plus yards on the San Francisco 49ers since C.J. Anderson in 2018. He finished with 29 tough carries for 108 yards. That stat is via J.B. Long. And then another couple of stats from around the NFL. Kyren Williams on the Rams sweeping the 49ers. It shows that we are the big brothers now. Kyren Williams in a 4-day span. 58 carries, 4 receptions, 195 rushing yards, 14 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. And it's those kind of crucial moments. You're coming off of the Eagles game where he had 2 fumbles, and he hasn't lost the ball once since that moment. He's been incredible in pass pro. He stepped up his game in that regard. That's why his teammates really do love him and gravitate to him. And he's also been used as a pass catcher a little bit more frequently as of recent weeks, which, Nick, you mentioned those were things that they needed to do in this game to be successful. Guys on the offensive line, how about Kevin Dotson? That highlighted Kevin Dotson just in the people-moving business, clearing space for Puka Nacua, and when Puka went underneath on that quick slant to get a first down. I mean, Kevin Dotson is probably the MVP of the offensive line so far this season. So he's been incredible. I mean, you're getting contributions from all of you're getting Kevin Dotson's playing really good football. Bo Limmer up front's playing great. Steve Avila's back in the fold. You got both of your healthy tackles. Kyren's playing really solid football. Puka Nacua is just seems like he's getting better every single week. Like, even when the game plan is catered around stopping him, the Rams can still kind of force feed him the ball, which is kind of the opposite of Deebo Samuel at this point. And you're able to get production out of him in any regard. So the offense right now is exactly where it needs to be.
I want to speak on one thing about Kyren, and then I'm going to go on a little tangent. He's not – I don't think he'll ever be the type of back that Derrick Henry or Todd Gurley ever are. I would say he's closer to a C.J. Anderson type, but maybe like C.J. Anderson back when he was in Denver when he was still like a little younger. That being said, that final drive, he picked up huge chunk yards to essentially ice the game. It was like they were going to him and the 49ers were gassed, and he was picking up like 7 or 8, like just in a row. And that's kind of what what you come to expect with him. He's not going to have that breakout 56-yard run, but he'll consistently get you first downs, help you get that clock management, and get in and find the red zone, which is something that he's been fantastic on. And then just to speak on how this team has been able to just show each other that, like, hey, we can actually make it to the playoffs right now. A lot of it has to do when you have the Super Bowl winning coach and the Super Bowl winning quarterback. It's like you're starring in it, like you're like a supporting actor in like a Christopher Nolan movie, and you got Christian Bale as at the lead helm. It's like, okay, these guys won Oscars. I'm going to bring my fucking A game to this because I know it's going to be viewed by 1 million people, and we actually have a chance to like make something fantastic here. So I like just having Stafford and McVay, I think gives this team so much more energy than if we were like the Colts right now, or just like some other team like the Dolphins, like trying to make a push right now. Like, I think our guys truly believe, like, if we get in there, we can truly make some noise. And I think that's factual.
It's exactly why they didn't blow it up. It's exactly why they said, once we get this team healthy, let's see what we got, because they really felt like they were, unable to put things together because they didn't have the necessary protection up front. They didn't have their primary pass catchers. And now from an offensive perspective, this is everything that we promised, that they promised to us in terms of fans. Obviously, this game was a little bit shaky, but, the rain was a massive factor in the first half. But being able to get the job done in major spots, the only thing that really mattered in this game was execution down the stretch. And the Rams were great at it. On third down, they had a big run to Kyren late in the game. They had that third down conversion to Colby Parkinson. The red zone was a little bit shaky, but they were still able to at least push the ball to the red zone and be able to get points on the board. So, I mean, it was a really, really tough game. It's a division rival. You're coming off of a game 4 days ago where you just put up 44 points against the Buffalo Bills. So, to be able to kind of piece things together was really important. And also McVay to be able to keep the locker room together. Like, a lot of these are young kids, and they could probably feel to themselves at some point, especially early on in the season, that this season's kind of lost. Like, they don't have the mentality instilled that the Super Bowl team did. They don't have necessarily the veteran leadership on the defensive side of the ball that Super Bowl team did with Aaron Donald and Von Miller and some of the Jalen Ramsey and some of these other guys. Like, they got to kind of carve out their own future and their own path. And that's what these guys are starting to do, which is why this team is so encouraging right now and such a must-watch product. And you got guys like Kobe Turner. This is an incredible stat. This is via next-gen stats. And the conductor was absolutely incredible in this game. Since the start of the last season, no player has recorded more pressures against double teams than Rams defensive tackle Kobe Turner, 42. He's got 42 pressures against double teams going back to last season. And tonight, Kobe Turner had 4 pressures and 2 sacks on 20 pass rushes, with all 4 pressures and both sacks coming against double teams. So put up your hands, conduct it. This new fearsome foursome with all these young kids, and then you added Michael Hoyt, so fearsome fivesome, or whatever you want to call it, whatever kind of nickname you want to call this front four. It's up to you guys.
The Masked Singers.
Not bad. I don't hate it, but seriously, like there's a lot to love about this group. And you see them after the game, you see them post game, how close knit they are and how important this is to them to be able to kind of piece these things together. Braden Fisk said it's the most unselfish group ever. They're only competing against one another in meeting rooms and before the game gets started, as they're prepping, they're saying, "Oh, I got 6 sacks. Oh, I got 17 pressures." Oh, like they're competing with one another. Like it seems like it's that kind of close-knit group that you can kind of rally behind. And if the offense isn't holding their own in some spots, you could hopefully trust the defense is going to be able to get the job done. So
do you think we're at we're on standby of like a Shula getting a head coaching watch at this point?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't, but you never know how the season could end.
If it continues into next year and we're still like an incredible defensive front and, like we're holding teams, like really good teams, to 9 points and like keeping these games close consistently, I think that is the talk of the town next year.
Probably next year. I would say no this year because there's a couple 40 burgers on the schedule so far this year, to the Cardinals, to the Bills. Like it's been shaky at times. And, the way that they kind of piece together this secondary is so interesting. Obviously, Colby Durant wasn't in this game. Kobe Durant was hurt. He had the punctured lung. So you needed Akello Witherspoon to step up. And shout out Jake. I'm sure Jake was going absolutely nuts over the fact that Akello Witherspoon was playing really good football. This is from David Lombardi, he's a 49ers beat reporter. He said, "Bet you didn't have 49ers receivers struggling to separate versus Akello Witherspoon in the year 2024 on your bingo card." Akello Witherspoon was a former San Francisco 49er. So 49ers fans are very familiar with what he's able to bring to the table. But Akello was locked down, whether it was Juwan Jennings, whether it was Debo, it didn't really matter. Akello Witherspoon came out.
Who was on Kittle most of the time? Was it Kitchens?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, because I felt like they were trying to. It was Debo and Kittle that like they were really like sought after, and we were able to shut down Kittle pretty much too, which was huge.
Yeah, it was Quentin Lake. I thought had a really good game. Cam Kinchens is really kind of coming along. He almost had an interception where he climbed over Debo's shoulder, I think it was, and was able to take one away. Yeah. And the big interception was Darius Williams. I think probably the only player in the secondary that has the ball skills to be able to make this play. This is via Wyatt Miller. One of the Rams beat reporters, one of the new ones. He said, this is from Darius Williams. We got hands too. Darius Williams' late interception helped seal the 12-6 win against division rival 49ers on Thursday Night Football. That's exactly what you want. You want somebody that could be able to track the ball, that can make a play. Purdy with a blatant overthrow. He
was off all night.
He was so much better in the first game where the Rams played the 49ers so far this season. He is just.
Younger guys, the weather can really. I remember that was a big thing with Goff. It was like, oh, don't let him get in the cold. Like he needs to play in SoFi when he was like a young rookie. And like it's just tougher. And it's like the experience that Stafford has, and now the experience that Goff has in those situations is so much better than anything that Brock has ever come across. I still think he's a great guy, like a great quarterback to start a franchise around. And he'll probably get his bag, which will be nice because now the Niners won't have these like superstar teams every year because they have to actually pay their their quarterback who brought them to a Super Bowl. Actually, I mean, they're in a world where they don't pay him and they let him walk 100%.
Yeah, I think the world is more realistic. And they were talking about this pregame, Big Witten and Fitzpatrick and Tony Gons and Sherman. They were like, this Brock Purdy contract, you could pay him more in line with somebody like a Patrick Mahomes versus like a Jordan Love or a Dak Prescott and still be able to kind of facilitate your roster and build around Brock Purdy, which I feel like makes more sense. But if you're the agent, you're pushing for the bigger bonus. You're pushing for the bigger contract. And it's a guy that's really kind of shown that he was underestimated, and now he's playing some decent football. But in a division game at home, you got to be able to kind of win and step up and make some big-time throws. That throw he had on the last possession of the game where he just blatantly overthrew Juwan Jennings on a simple out to be able to get the 49ers back in field goal position, at least give them a better shot to throw a Hail Mary. That's how you lose football games.
Yeah, I mean, or you could even field goal and then try the onside kick, even though it didn't work last week. But, I mean, you're giving yourself more options there, I would say. But, yeah, I mean, just Brock, Stafford had some dropped interceptions, though, as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, early on.
He started out really shaky, and I think they would have been able to overcome them no matter what, just based on how the tone of the game was. But then he figured it out, he was hella clutch at the end when he needed to be, and it was the opposite for Purdy, where he just got less and less clutch. I mean, that overthrow was brutal. It was just really bad.
Man, that
3 Rams defenders.
So. I mean, you saw it on both ends. It's so difficult to throw a football in the rain. It
what
really is.
You know what this game kind of felt like? And this is going to sound crazy, but I think Rams fans will resonate with this. It felt like 2018 season Super Bowl, except this time we had the Tom Brady and the Bill Belichick, and Brock Purdy was young Goff and Shanahan was McVay. And it was just like Goff he was okay, but he was not nearly good enough to just be like this veteran presence that Stafford
I think that's a great comparison, because that's really, I mean, obviously not the Super Bowl, not even the playoffs, but there was a playoff atmosphere there. That was massive playoff implications. And I think you're totally right. You got the veteran quarterback, you got the veteran coach who's finished the job in the past, versus the younger quarterback who a lot of people are hesitant to put all their eggs into the basket of. And then the coach who just hasn't gotten over the hump yet, but there's still a lot of hype around. So, yeah, I think that's a solid comparison.
Yep. I just came up with that right now.
I think it's pretty solid. And you mentioned Joshua Carty. Dude, that ball that he kicked, the 48-yarder, actually got tipped, which was insane.
It got tipped, and it would have been good from 60, it looked like. It was a dot.
Absolute bomb. So this is via the Rams PR. Kicker Joshua Carty connected he was 4 for 4 on his field goal attempts, making his third career game with at least 4 made field goals, and the first since week 10 of Miami. He also tied Frank Corral. Old-time Rams fans will remember 1978 Frank Corral for most games with at least 4 made field goals by a Rams rookie kicker. So Joshua Carty, you got to trust the guy at this point.
I think Carty
was hesitant, but
I think he just hates the 49ers, because both of his best games this year have been against the 49ers. He's like, fuck these guys. It's like, I don't like them either. I came here, I hate them. I don't like them immediately. But also, shout out to our punter. Felt like he had some good punts. Special teams was partly a huge reason why we won that game. So shout out to special teams, just up and down. They were great.
Yeah, so now you're looking ahead to the Jets. You got a lot of extra time off. Like we said in the last episode, we're rooting for the Jets to win this game 38-10, so that they just
not the one against us, the one that they're playing this week. Yes.
This weekend. Yeah, just get all your points out, feel good about your squad, and then get your ass kicked at home to the Rams. And then the Cardinals, it's a revenge game against the Cardinals, and then the Seahawks. So you have an opportunity to get even against the Cardinals, sweep the Seahawks, and beat another AFC East team in the Jets in the final 3 games of the season to potentially improve to 11-6. So you'd have to win 6 straight. You'd have to win 6 straight to finish the season, but it's definitely possible.
What's nice too is if we win against the Jets and we beat the Cardinals, and the Seahawks lose to the Packers and the Vikings, which is very possible. There'll be underdogs in both of those games. Then that final game doesn't even matter. We can
Right.
win the division, rest our starters, have a Jimmy Garoppolo game, Stetson Bennett game if you want to. I don't. I'd rather it be Jimmy. But I'm just saying, similar to last year where we had this amazing surge in the back half of the season that it didn't matter that we're in the playoffs no matter what. We're going to play Carson Wentz.
It would be absolutely beautiful. Cherry on top of an insane roller coaster season. So let's just keep hoping for that. If you guys are enjoying the pod, yeah, if you guys are enjoying the pod, this is our 3rd episode of the week. So we're cranking them out. We're making sure that you guys are getting your content. And we'll take the weekend off. We'll be back for Jets preview next week. And Nick and I might actually end up going to the game. We'll see.
There's a chance that me and Dean venture to this cold, windy New Jersey Jets game.
Yeah, so if you guys are planning to go to the Jets game, let us know. We'll link up. But as always, we appreciate you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. We love you guys. Go Rams. Rocking the old school Ram shirt for the 12-6 final score in favor of one of our favorite coaches ever, Jeff Fisher. But just a lot of fun.
Is that?
We appreciate you guys listening.
That is so true. I didn't even think about that. That is such a Fisher way to win.
Hey, anytime we can get it, any chance we can get a win, you got to take it. And you know what? It's like if you can win in multiple ways in this league, you're in a good spot and you're a force to reckon with in the playoffs. So
just need the vibes to be right on both sides of the ball. We need the offense and the defense to be. Still haven't had that since the Vikings game. But I think we should petition to play all of our games on Thursday.
I would agree.
Thursday in December. That's the only time we should play.
That's the scary part about this team is it still doesn't feel like they've really put a complete game together yet. So when they do,
the Vikings game, I would say the Vikings game.
Besides the Vikings game, but still, I mean, even a game where the offense is fully dominant and the defense has a couple of turnovers, that to me is going to be a scary situation. And you could see it in the final 3 games of the season. So cheers to that. We will talk to you guys soon. And as always, go Rams.
Go Rams. Hopefully Nick's picks do well this week. Bye.
Peace. I think they will.